talking about some military leaders that have actually made a lot of money and have actually stayed in the limelight even till date. We're going to be mentioning about a few, but we're going to be considering one. First off, I want to actually make you remember about the late Sani Abacha, Nigerian's former military leader. Now, it's worthy to note that this man was not just a billionaire in Nigerian currency, which is the naira, but he was also a billionaire in dollars. That is to say that even upon his death in 1998, the Nigerian government still uncovered about 3 billion US dollars linked to his SADC deposits held in personal and proxy bank accounts in Texas heaven, as diverse as Switzerland, New Jersey, and just to mention but a few. Now, following a series of negotiations by the Nigerian government and his family, the Abacha's first son, Mohammed, was able to return $1.2 billion to the Nigerian government as early as 2002. And it would interest you to know that the rate at which dollar was reading then and the rate at which it's reading now are like two different things altogether. It's two different ball games. So I really want to be in the family of Abacha at this point in time, but somehow somewhere I would stick to where I am. I wouldn't really want to run too far from where I'm supposed to be. Now I want to focus on a man called T.Y. Danjuma. Funny enough, I really didn't get to know his original name that much. I was thinking the TY was actually the name his parents just wanted to call him. But to surprise you, TY actually stands for Theophilus Yakubu. Oh, that's nice. I'm happy you now get to know about his original name. And a brief history on him. He was born on the 9th of December, 1938. Please do also wish him a happy birthday this year. He was born in a very small farming community in Gongola, now Taraba State. And like many other children born during his time, he joined his father to plant yam, rice, cassava, and bean seeds. Moving on, when he came of age, he started his primary education and moved to Benue, where he also went to a school in Katsina Allah for his secondary school education. Now, somehow, somewhere, he got into cricket. He became a lover of cricket, and to his greater advantage, he became the school captain of the cricket club. That's quite interesting to know, considering his kind of personality. Now, however, in as much as he was the person who actually knew how to combine study and play, he still didn't remove his mind from going to school. So he went further to back up a higher school certificate in 1958 and also immediately got enrolled into the Nigerian College of Arts, Science and Technology, Zaria, now the Ahmadu Bello University, to study history on a Nigerian Northern scholarship. It's quite interesting to know that these people actually went to school and they actually know what it means to be educated. But he barely spent a year there, as he left soon after to enroll in the Nigerian Defense Academy. That was where all his miracles started. That was where he began his journey. That was where he began his life. Now let's go to talk about his military career. Now, sometimes I get to wonder, why do a lot of people go into being in the military, What's so special about being in the military? Then at some point I realized that, oh, okay, it's actually a good thing. These people are actually protecting our country at one point or the other. And it's still interesting to know that they are not giving up, they're still fighting. And a big thumbs up to him, because he's been in the business for way over 4 decades. And he's still kicking, as some would say. He's still kicking. So Danjuma was commissioned into the Nigerian Army as a second lieutenant. Oh my god, I actually know a lot about the military because I have families who actually decided to go into the military for some reason or the other, and I just feel like asking them why, the military of all jobs. But sooner or later they just had to tell me they loved it, and I'm happy they actually gained what they wanted. Now, not just as a second lieutenant, but also as a platoon commander, and commenced his military career in Congo. He took part in the UN peacekeeping. For those of you who don't know the meaning of UN, it simply means United Nations. So he took part in the United Nations peacekeeping force in Sante, Katanga province in Congo in 1963. He was also involved in the Nigerian counter coup of 1966, just 3 years later after his peacekeeping mission, and with the fourth, but he did this with the 4th Battalion in Mokola, Ibadan. Now, Ibadan is seen to be somewhere that a lot of military men have experiences too. They have a life tied to, because at some point the barracks were actually located there, and information, signals, and whatever were received at Ibadan. So he commanded the Nigerian Army's 1st Infantry Brigade and also led a battalion that freed Jaja Nwachukwu, the very first Speaker of the Nigerian House of Representatives, and also the very first ambassador to the United Nations and the first Foreign Affairs Minister, from detention, because then Ojukwu was actually in government, so he was able to free this man Jaja Nwachukwu from Ojukwu's claws. Now, on several occasions, he was sent as Nigerian representatives within and outside the country for several diplomatic missions. He served in active military service from 1960 to 1979. That's really like 19 years. He retired as a lieutenant general and in the highest office in the military, chief of the army staff under the military administration of General Olusegun Obasanjo. He later served as a Minister of Defense between 1999 and 2003. Okay, hallelujah! Finally, I get to see something. I was born within the period he was there. So yes, I'm happy I got born at that point in time. So this was under the administration of the President Olusegun Obasanjo's civilian administration. This is a man who has actually seen the military regime and is somehow now seen the part of the whole civilian thing. Okay, and it's also worthy to note before we go into his business line that he is also a philanthropist. Now, he set up a foundation called the T.Y. Danjuma's Foundation, and it was set up in December 2008. And so far so good, he now has partners with several non-governmental organizations across the country, and they carry out philanthropic gestures to areas that need their attention to elevate poverty and the rest. Please, I would actually want to tell this man that please, in case you know where my community is, I could literally direct you and your foundation to come over to my community because we need this. And the foundation basically targets the provision of basic amenities, education for children and young adults, and free medical care for indigent people. And just in case you may not really get that indigent people, it's people with this physical disabilities and the rest of them. Now, over 3 billion naira has been awarded as grants to NGOs working related goals in this area. Although the work first started in Taraba, Danjuma's hometown, it has extended to areas. About 290 projects have been implemented across 31 states and the FCT, with over 8 million people reached. Every year since its inception, the foundation calls for concept notes and application for funds for organizations and projects focused on health and education. That is to say, you could literally apply if you want to, if you have the levers to, and if you have the entire ideas to, then you could actually hit on what you want. Now, it's a lot to talk about when talking about T.Y. Danjuma, because he has a lot of history to talk about, a lot of things people really didn't even know about him, but this man kept on posing to be someone who is really great. Now, it's not easy to see people like him on a regular basis, because jumping from fact of him being one time a history student and to another time joining the NDA, it's quite interesting how the shift got to occur. Now, let's also get to talk about his business life, the business forays, and we could see that General Danjuma made his first major foray into the shipping business when he founded the Nigerian American line and leased a ship to facilitate trade between Lagos and Santos in Brazil. And at this time, Nigeria's bilateral trade agreement had opened the sea routes to economics in the South American markets, and so the Nigerian American line had patronage from Nigeria's National Supply Company to bring in government goods. and its client list later grew to include Deacon Salt, Nigeria, Ewopin Paper Mill, and Namco, and some other companies here in Nigeria. From about 12 staffs in a single location in 1976, the Nigerian American line grew over the next 3 decades to almost 300 staffs. Almost 300 staff. That's to show he has in mind the aspect of empowerment, employment, and he will do well if he gives himself the opportunity to. Now, it's not every day you come across a retired Nigerian military general who remains in the limelight for like way over four decades, retiring from retiring from active service, and for reasons totally unconnected to the military service. This is probably the reason why some might consider General T.Y. Danjuma to be one of the most controversial businessmen and retired generals in Nigeria. Now, as vocal as he is in the Nigerian political matters, Theophilus Danjuma is a force in the business environment. Like, he pulls weight in some of the most notable companies. Much of his wealth is attributed to his shipping and petroleum interest. I believe for the Igbo brothers, we believe that our container they always land, like Olandugo. So at this point in time, I could say the entire force behind the container landing is T.Y. Danjuma. And that's like in 2015, he was worth way over $750 million, like a million times above what was found from Sani Apache, about $3 billion. There's a whole range of different, and he was ranked the 30th among the top 50 richest men in Africa, and this list was compiled by Forbes. And until he drops off the following year due to weak oil prices, his business still continues to remain on several boards and he's still putting his business acumen to use. Even in his 80s, the story of his move from the barracks to the boardroom marks an interesting read. This man surprises us a lot because his movements from here to there is something that people really don't see on a daily basis. But here he is today, from the barracks to the boardroom, drafting, writing, and wanting for you to see. And at some point, he also became the chairman of the China National Offshore Oil Corporation, and his wife also was the vice chairman. And at some point, he began real estate, and he began to own stakes in some chemical industry that produced fertilizer. This man is a thinker. He's a creative thinker. He works with his head. He didn't just say, okay, I went to the barracks and I'm done with the barracks and that was it. No, I think he's a lesson to people who want to become like him. So he also moved into the oil business. Like, after about 15 years of running the shipping business, he moved into the oil business. Now, he decided that, okay, he wanted to explore the production, and he founded the Southern Atlantic Petroleum in 1995 to serve as a vehicle for his interests. Now, 3 years later, the Ministry of Petroleum Resources in Nigeria awarded the Oil Prospecting License, the OPL, 246 to this company, the Southern Atlantic Petroleum, with a block covering a total area of 2,590 square kilometers, which is about 1,000 square kilometers. And the company bought its total upstream, Nigerian Limited, and another company, that's the Bass Oil Service Company, Nigerian Limited, and its partners in its oiling prospectants. Now, this prospectus led to the discovery of Akpo, a confident field, the Engina Mina, Engina South, Powell and Kuro in 2004. Now, Sapetero, the short form of South Atlantic Petroleum, won a tender process for an oil exploration contract over 550 square kilometers offshore from the Republic of Benin, and this opened the way for other transnational deals. Wow, this man has a lot for people to remember him for. From the business of shipping, I wouldn't say he got tired though, but he moved into the oil business, and he was still making progress because he was able to think for himself. That's like an advice to other youths as well. See, the older ones are still being able to think we as youths, I think that we should have the abilities to also think, should also think for ourselves and try to create out strategies that would help to be something really good to us. Now, there are like a lot of honors this man have actually gotten, a lot of interest. Now, T.Y. Danjuma holds the like National Honor General Commander of the Order of Nigeria. That like it's read. I think that the a particular person in Warri is also supposed to be crowned with this, but not the general commander of the order. His is a different thing, but it's coming from the President Muhammadu Buhari. Now, T.Y. Danjuma also has several other national and international awards and titles, as well as honorary doctorate degrees from different universities within and outside Nigeria. To those of you who are saying school is scam, please learn from the life of T.Y. Danjuma, who has a lot of doctorate degrees. Do not say if you die, who will use all the degrees? Just get them first. Let's say that you got them and you had something to do with them, and to just not get them at all and not have anything to do with them. Now, beside the company he founded, like T.Y. Danjuma has sat on the boards of other companies like the Natcom Development and Investment Limited. That's one company, and it's trading as Intel, where he assumed position as the board chairman in 2016. He also served 7 years as the chairman of Ajib Africa until 1995, when he left to start up the South South Atlantic Petroleum. So he has also been appointed into several committees cancelled by the government, like in 2003 actually, where he served as the chairperson for investigative committee in the Warri conflict. Danjuma has served as chairman for the Victim Support Fund Committee, supporting the victims of terror such as the Chibok school girls kidnapping. Now, until today, I actually didn't really think a lot about the Chibok girls, but somehow, somewhere, though it's not in this conversation, but what happened to them? Does anyone know? Does anyone have an idea? Please, you could also tell us so we could have an idea of what it is. But the entire story today boils down to this one man who has a lot of capacities in him, a lot of potentials in him. It's quite interesting to know that he keeps you updated back to back, making you follow up his life. Now, I love you, T.Y. Danjuma. I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to tell my children to be like you. But first, I'm going to draw the curtains here where I go to advise my children on how to be like T.Y. Danjuma. It's still the InfoGist TV. Please, please, and please do well to like, comment, and also to subscribe. Till I come your way next time, I'm bringing you more gist. Just keep this in mind. I love you.